ladies and gentlemen, ladies and ladies mostly today, we are going to begin. So please take your seats if you haven't yet. And I would like to invite to the stage to help us open this very special Women in Cybersecurity session. I would like to invite Ms. Gili Drob-Heistein, who is the Managing Director, the Executive Director of the Blavatnik ICRC Center. Gili, please. And if you are enjoying the events at CyberWeek, it's because of this lady right here. She's in charge of all of it. Thank you.
You are the best, Keren. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you to Women in Cybersecurity, Hacking the Glass Ceiling. I'm happy that you're joining us to celebrate the awesome achievements of women in cyber. It is very important to me personally to give women the opportunity to share the knowledge, to talk about their research, and to discuss the challenges facing women in cyber. I'm thrilled to welcome brilliant women to the stage. You are all role models for girls and young women who aspire to become part of an industry in which women are a minority. Events like this one promote awareness and help to change the status quo. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to the first event at CyberWeek that celebrates the success of women in cyber. Thank you for coming. Thanks. And thank you, Keren, for moderating this day, and thanks, Ilana. Thank you. You're amazing. Thanks.
Okay, let's get this party started, ladies. So we have an incredible agenda, an incredible lineup today of fantastic women in cybersecurity, and they're going to share their knowledge, their experience, their wisdom with you. But first, a little bit about why we are all here and who I am. So you may have heard or seen on the agenda, my name is Keren Elazari. 3 years ago, or in fact 4 years ago, I founded a group for women in security in Israel. The group is called Leading Cyber Ladies, and many of the cyber ladies are here in the room with us today. Make some noise, cyber ladies, please. Thank you. It was an initiative of myself, but more than that, of a good friend of mine, Ms. Hila Meller. She's not here with us today because she is now a very high executive working for British Telecom in Europe, managing all of their cybersecurity efforts. And Hila reached out to me in 2015 and she said, Keren, we need to create an environment for women in cybersecurity to network, to present professional content, to talk about their research, to share their knowledge and their ideas. And that was what we created 3 and 4 years ago, in fact. Now, about myself, since I will be your host for the next couple of hours, I grew up as a very curious young child right here in Tel Aviv. In fact, I was so curious that sometimes the answers to all of my questions were on other people's computers. So I taught myself how to write code, and I also taught myself how to do some very basic web hacking. Back in the 90s, it wasn't a crime, because in Israel, we did not have a legal framework, we did not have a computer crime law until 1996. And I was quite young when I was starting my path in the hacker world. I hadn't thought that hackers were bad or criminals. In fact, I was deeply inspired to become a hacker, which was a good thing for me because here's the truth, I didn't look like this young little girl. This is what I actually looked like. So this is an actual photo from the yearbook of my school here in Tel Aviv. And I was so much of a nerd, so much of a geek, so much of a weirdo that I looked like a little boy, and even in the annual school photo, I was the one standing to the side with my gadget, my best friend, my Sony Walkman. I spent so much time online at the school library, at the school lab, learning about computers, learning how to write code, learning how to find new things online, even if they were beyond passwords, which I needed to crack or guess how to get beyond that. And more than that, I was really lucky, not just to grow up in Tel Aviv, in Israel, a country where innovation and curiosity was motivated and encouraged. I was lucky also to have access to computers and a computer lab in my school, something that even today not every girl in Israel has. I was really lucky because I met my mentor and my role model. Some of you might know who she is, since she's quite famous today, but this was more than 20 years ago, Angelina Jolie. In 1995, Angelina Jolie portrayed a fierce high school hacker called Acid Burn. I was 14 the time that movie came out, and when I saw this movie, which depicted a group of high school hackers, weirdos just like me, that used their power over technology, not to be the bad guys, not to be the criminals, but to save the day. They showed the FBI who the real criminals were. They prevented an ecological catastrophe. They uncovered corporate corruption. This is how I imagined that a friendly hacker, a hacker hero, might look like. So I was indeed very lucky to see that and have that become my role model, because I didn't meet any female hackers in the real world, not back then. And that movie gave me the inspiration that I needed to start my career, my path into the cybersecurity world. Several years ago, in 2014, I was invited to the global TED conference to share my vision about how hackers can be heroes. I called them the Internet's immune system, a message that has been viewed and shared by millions over the world. And today I have the privilege of receiving replies from hackers around the world and from young girls and women all over this planet who wish to become friendly hackers, security researchers, cybersecurity professionals. So this event today, this is for all of you. This is about how you can find your way into this industry, about the multitude of role models, skill sets, capabilities that are required, and how we can cultivate that. And to help me bring that message forward, I'm going to invite a few friends very soon. But first, I want to tell you about something that happened just yesterday, right here on this campus. 3 years ago, in 2016, I also co-founded, together with a group of amazing friends and volunteers, a local hacker community event called B-Sides Tel Aviv. And from the first moment, we set out as a goal to include female speakers in our team, in our volunteers, and on the agenda. And I'm very proud that in the past 3 years, B-Sides Tel Aviv has always featured at least 25 or 30% of our speakers as female speakers, and hopefully we can increase that with your help and participation to 50% or even 51% to represent our true role in the global population. So next year, I would like to see all of you at B-Sides Tel Aviv 2019, on the stage and in the room. So please keep that in mind. And thank you to Tel Aviv University for hosting and making it possible for us to host B-Sides Tel Aviv. Now, yes, absolutely, they deserve an applause for that. Thank you. And later on today, we'll have several talks and several panels, and you'll meet more of the leading cyber ladies. But if you're based in Israel and would like to join our group, you can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and join our quarterly and monthly meetups, Leading Cyber Ladies. You can find us online. Now, I'd like to invite our first speaker for today, Marianne Merritt. And just before you go on stage, I'll say a few words about you. We're very lucky to have Marianne here with us this week for CyberWeek, since Marianne works for the National Institute of Science and Technology, NIST, in the United States. Now, what you see over there, the title, that's a national initiative for cybersecurity education that operates as part of NIST. And Marianne is going to tell us about how the US envisions cybersecurity education and how to get more women on board. But just to get an idea, how many of you are familiar with NIST, with this US organization? A few of you. For those who don't, I will explain that for us in the Israeli comparative, the National Institute for Science and Technology decides on security standards. So for example, if you know that when you create a new password, you must use a specific password length, lowercase, uppercase characters, special characters, and you ever think, who invents these standards? Who decided that this is what passwords should look like? Well, NIST decided. Back in 2003, I believe, they came up with the standard for password security strength. And that's just one example of the many standards and policies that the NIST decides in the US that affect all of us here. And to tell us more about what we can learn from their initiative, I'd like to invite Marianne. Please welcome her to the stage. Thank you. Marianne, this is for you. And I'll just pull up